to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Tsung Kung, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Dupten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice today, Jundi Buddha Mother. Om Tsuli Tsuli Junti Soha, the mantra of Jundi. Sumo Tanchen Katso Duten Siddhi. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? Good evening, everyone. Today, we practice Mahajundi Buddha Mother, the great victorious Vajra. We pray that her victor can eradicate all of the viruses. And today we mention the academician, Professor Zhu, that has been delivered last night when I got home. At about 1 a.m., after 1 a.m., I performed Bardo deliverance. And I saw the academician Professor Zhu. He came. I asked him to take the first seat on the Dharma ship, and he did got on it and sat on the first seat, but there were two things happened. When he sat on the first seat of the first Dharma ship, of the 1,000 ships. So on the first seat of the 1,000 ships, 1,000 Dharma ships, there were Professor Zhu. So I Bardo delivered one person, but it turned out that on the first seat of each of the ship of the 1,000 Dharma ships, there were Professor Zhu on it. And all the Bardo spirits with affinity saw on that the body of Professor Zhu radiated light. On his body there was infinite light and hundreds of precious lights, pure lights. There are all kinds of radiance on his body. The hundreds of precious light, the pure light, and the infinite light on his body. And all the destined Vajra spirits shouted that today the Bodhisattva came. And quickly the thousands of Dharma ships flew to the sky. And they chanted the Buddha's epithet, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And the Dharma ships quickly arrived at the Sukhavati, the Western paradise. And all the destined spirits all got to the other shore. And at that time, Professor Zhu merged into the body of Amitabha Buddha who met him. So Amitabha Buddha, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, and Mahastama Prapta Bodhisattva all came to welcome Professor Zhu to come to guide or lead him. So I kept thinking, curious, was it I who Bardo delivered, or was it him? Was it he who Bardo delivered? So it was unclear. I used the thousands of Dharma ships to do Bardo deliverance, and he came, and then he sat on the first seat, and one person transformed into 1,000 persons. And then the Dharma ships followed the procedure and arrived at the other shore. And then he merged into the body of Amitabha Buddha. So let me tell you a fact. Today, when I called on his name, he also came. The academician Professor Zhu Shiyi, or Shiyi Zhu. So he's among us. That was last night. What happened when I performed the Bardo deliverance. And early this morning, he also came to Seattle Leizang Temple. And he merged with Grandmaster. That's a great spiritual response. So the Bardo deliverance yesterday is that I was performing the Bardo deliverance, and Professor Zhu was also performing the Bardo deliverance. We all know that his knowledge was very vast and broad. He was Taiwan University's chemistry field scholar or academician. Oh, I see. A bachelor's degree from the chemistry, in chemistry, and then the Taiwan. A master degree from something, and then a PhD from Tsinghua University, and also a PhD from Harvard University in chemistry and physics. So from Harvard University, the best university in the US. And he also became an academician in Taiwan, that's what they call. It's a higher scholar, and he got lots of honorable mentions. And he was also quantum physics. I don't know what quantum physics is all about, but he's a pioneer in quantum physics. And me too. It's one of the basically physics, an area of physics. So he's one of the pioneers in some of those. But all his life he followed Grandmaster in learning the Buddha Dharma, listening to the Buddha Dharma, learning the Buddha Dharma, and practicing the Buddha Dharma. He highly revered Grandmaster, and Grandmaster knows that. So his attainment was marvelous. So here we also respect him very much, and we hope that using his spirit body, he delivers and teaches sentient beings. Oh. So in Tantric Buddhism, it's called the peace body, which is the highest body to teach sentient beings. The fact that one Professor Chu could become 1,000 Professor Chus, that's out-of-body transformations. And he was able to radiate such great light. He's the same as Bodhisattva. And he merged into the body of Amitabha Buddha. So that was the merging of the child light with the mother light. So that was what happened when I was delivering Professor Chu last night. before the Dharma teachings, let me share a joke first. A young man asked the master, I don't understand why you monks always say Namo Amitabha. What does it mean? And the master replied, of course, I cannot be like you cursing all day long, right? So we have our own so they treat Amitabha as like a cliche, you know. It's a pet phrase. There was a customer in a cafe and said, waiter, in your ad you said that you prepare your own combination coffee, but this is not it. And then the waiter replied, yeah, of course it's a combination coffee. It's a combination of yesterday's and today's coffee. So Xiaoming went to the fortune teller, and the fortune teller said, in your destiny you will get married at 25, have a child at 30, and live a rich life. And Xiaoming said, but I'm already 35 today. I mean this year. I'm a PhD. How come I'm still single and poor? Well, the fortune teller said, didn't you know that knowledge changes your destiny? So knowledge can change your destiny. Now we'll do question and answer. From Indonesia, Andri Rico Riyadi. Namo Buddha Lien Seng, the Grandmaster. I am a student from Indonesia, and my name is Andri Rico Riyadi. That's Indonesian. Please allow me to ask a question. So that's redundant, right? You're already asking a question. Because I was blind since childhood, it is difficult for me to visualize and imagine. May I imagine lineage Guru's voice instead of his image? As for me who's blind, what is the best way to visualize offering of food or fire offering? The best way to visualize offerings to lineage Guru and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas? Thank you. Namo Buddha Lien Seng. So, blind since childhood. difficult and to imagine an image. This is very difficult to answer, right? He's blind since childhood. He hasn't seen images of Grandmaster or Buddhas and Bodhisattvas or everything. How to visualize food, fire offering. Is he or she doing fire offering? This is strange. What is the best way to visualize offerings to lineage root guru and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas? Imagine lineage root guru's voice instead of his image. So use voice instead of image. Can he do it? Guan Si Yin. Guan Si Yin or Avalokitesvara is, what is that? Use your eyes to see the sounds, so you can visualize sound too. So that's Guan Si Yin, right? That's the literally. So what is Guan Yin or Guan Si Yin? That you can even observe the sounds. So you can also visualize sounds or voices. So now let me tell you, Andri, Rico, Riyadi. Yes, you can use the voice to visualize Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the lineage root guru. So if you use the voice or sounds to visualize, then you are Guan Si Yin, because Guan Si Yin Bodhisattva can visualize sounds and voices. So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is a Bodhisattva that can visualize sounds and voices. Avalokitesvara or Guan Si Yin. So what would be the best way to visualize offerings to lineage root guru and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas? You use your heart and you just think of the best things that you can think of. Or you use your hand to touch the best thing, the best kinds of things, and then you offer it with your heart. That would be the best way to offer to the lineage root guru and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, right? Because you have lost your sight, but you still have good food to eat, so you can visualize and offer that. And you have bed to lie on, so you can offer your bed and bed things. If you have a dog to lead the blind person, then you can visualize the dog as offering. If you have walking sticks, then you can also offer that walking stick. Anything. anything can be offered. So use your heart to visualize things as and offer it to the lineage Guru and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That would be the best offering. That's for a student from Indonesia. The answer to the student in Indonesia. From Malaysia, asked by Lien Hoa Jami. Wholeheartedly homage to Grandmaster. When the mind and Qi are in union, that is meditation. But Qi follows the mind. When would Qi be not in union with the mind? And if they are not in union, how should we remedy it? Thank you, Grandmaster, for your advice. Wish you great health. Your house must be beautiful, because her name is like beautiful house. Your question is contradictory. You're asking me how Qi and mind are not in union, and then if the mind and Qi are not in union, how should we remedy it? You don't even know. You don't even know what it is about when Qi and mind are not in union, and then you're asking how to remedy it? So let me tell you, Qi is on the surface. Qi is on the surface. You know that Qi is there. When you breathe, there's Qi. Right? Can you feel the Qi? You can feel it. You can feel the Qi. Or when you pant, that's the rushing Qi. So, when you cannot feel the Qi at all, you don't feel that you're breathing, that means that your mind is very quiescent. But when you puff and huff, then your mind is also chaotic. So the mind is intangible, formless. When Qi moves, the mind also moves. So during meditation, we teach you to have the mind and Qi be in union, is to teach you to breathe extremely fine. Then your mind will quiet down. Otherwise, when you're angry, how can your mind be quiet? Try it. I'm in a bad mood. You're angry. Then your Qi is moving. Then the body also moves, the sound moves, the face gets red, and the neck thickens. The eyes were at first calm, and they became red-eyed. When you're angry, there's fire in the eyes, and you will have red eyes, and your face also red, and the neck is thickened, at that time the mind is at its worst. So it's the least quiescent is when you're angry. So that's why when you're angry, you would be like a mad person, and you throw everything out, even your antiques, and then you think, oh, this is too expensive, and then they stop. This is too expensive, I cannot throw it. Otherwise, some people, when they get angry, they would throw things and even break the TVs. Really, you can be affected. This past 1 to 2 years, all I see is about injections. You know that I'm most scared of injections. And then every time on the television, they always show injections. It's like injecting my heart. I am most scared of injections, of needles. And every day they do injections for 2 years. They haven't stopped. So, do those influence you? If you're a true spiritual cultivator, your mind doesn't move, your chi doesn't move. Your chi is immobile, and quickly you can quiet down, and you can concentrate and focus. And when the mind and chi are in union, that is meditation. The chi is extremely fine, and you focus on your own counting the breath until you reach when it's impossible to focus on your own breath because it's extremely fine. Then the thought would stop. You don't generate any thought anymore. Then you reach the realm of no thought, or even one thought. That is meditation. When you only have one thought, which is the thought of breathing, that's also meditation. So one thought then enters into no thought. That is meditation. So when the mind and chi are not in union, the mind follows chi. So when chi and mind are not in union is when you're coarse. Then your mind will not quiet down. Only when you breathe extremely finely, then the mind can be in quiescence mode. And at that time, mind and chi are in union. But when they are not, how should we remedy it? You can use the counting your breath and visualization of your breath. You visualize your breath. You count your breath. That's great. That's very good. There are several visualizations that are very good. The visualization of impurity, of counting your breath, or you visualize the face or the image of a Buddha and look up there. The 7 Buddhas are very calm and peaceful. The eyes are looking at the nose looking at the heart. The eyes looking at the tip of the nose, and the nose looking at the heart. That's how it is. You visualize Buddha's and Bodhisattva's face, and you focus on their face, on their eyes, on the third eye, and then you would become one. That's how you remedy it. So visualization is to remedy your chi. your chaotic chi. When mind and chi are in union and you're single-minded and you don't generate any thoughts anymore, that is meditation. And when you have one thought, that's also meditation, because one thought is you're visualizing. That's the answer to Lian Huajami from Malaysia. Okay, now we talk about the Vajra Sutra. The wife told the husband, in the future, wake me up every morning. I want to jog in the morning to lose weight. And on the first day, the husband wake her up and she said, I'm dizzy today. Let's see tomorrow. On the second day, the husband called the wife up and the wife said, so cold today. Let's see tomorrow. On the third day, the husband woke her up. Get up, get up. And the wife said, quiet, shut up, shut up, I want to sleep. On the fourth day, the wife got up by herself and yelled, how come you didn't call me, didn't wake me up? So the wife's always right. Yeah, I feel that the wife is always right. She's never wrong. In reality, that's the case. In reality, that's the case. Let's not talk about it. She's never wrong, even when she's wrong. You're the one that's wrong. You see it wrong. That's because you see it wrong. So nothing wrong. No. So today we will expound on Vajra Chedika Pratnya Paramita Sutra. Is by the indestructible wisdom to attain the unexcelled attainment. So the sutra that contains the indestructible wisdom to attain the unexcelled attainment. So the ceremony of the Vajra Sutra has started. Thus have I heard. I here primarily refer to Ananda and all the audience to the Dharma teaching. So this I referred to Ananda listening to Sakyamuni Buddha giving Dharma teaching, as well as all the disciples. That's what this statement means, thus have I heard. So this is as if you were there to hear the discourse of Sakyamuni Buddha. So this I referred to Ananda. Ananda's memory was number one. he's the best. He could remember all the words that Sakyamuni Buddha had spoken. I thought this kind of memory, nobody could have such a great memory. So it's hard to believe. Is there such a person nowadays? I don't remember either. So today, the quantum mechanics of Professor Zhu, this morning, since the morning, I kept thinking about the quantum mechanics. What is it? Is it the electric or which one? So, and then this quantum mechanics popped up, these two words, and I thought about it for so long. So it took me so long just to remember this quantum mechanics. So how could I? But Ananda had a tremendous memory. So Ananda and the people who supplemented, and all the people who listened to the teaching of Sakyamuni Buddha, that's why there were compilations. So everybody was discussing it. Did Sakyamuni Buddha say this? And they said yes, and then they recorded it. So that's what it meant. Thus have I heard. At the beginning of every sutra is always these 4 words that refer to Ananda and the assembly of monks who listened to the Buddha. One time the Buddha was staying at Anathapindika monastery at Jetavana in Sravasti. So this Anathapindika monastery at Jetavana, everybody knows that the Buddha was at Sravasti. Anathapindika monastery at Jetavana, that's referred to Anathapindika monastery. The Buddha had 3 main residences, caves at Vulture Peak in the earliest time, and then Venuvana Vihara, or the Bamboo Grove Monastery, and lastly at the Anathapindika Rama, or monastery built by Anathapindika. So what is Jeta? Some people said it's a tree. Wrong. That's wrong. So that refer. It's the Prince of Jeta. There was a Prince of Jeta who owned the grove or forest. And Anathapindika wanted to buy the grove. And who checked the geomancy? It was Sariputra. Sariputra went all over Sravasti and found this location. The elder Anathapindika was a great philanthropist in Sravasti. So what does his name mean, Anathapindika? So orphans, widowers, unmarried men, and poor would be provided room and board by him. So this great philanthropist had a nickname called Anatta Pindika. Anatta Pindika wanted to donate a piece of land to Sakyamuni Buddha. Sariputra liked this piece of land which belonged to the Prince of Jeta. So the Prince of Jeta told Anatta Pindika, as long as you can cover the forest with gold, I will sell it to you. And Anatta Pindika did cover the ground with gold. So Prince Jeta had no other choice but to sell the grove to Anatta Pindika, the elder. Now do you understand? However, after he covered the ground, he did not cover the trees. There are many trees in the woods. The trees were not covered with gold. So who offered the trees? So Prince Jeta said, since you donated the forest to Sakyamuni Buddha, so let me donate the trees to Sakyamuni Buddha. Thus the name Jeta's trees and Anatta Pindika's grove. Now do you understand? So the woods at first belonged to the Prince of Jeta, the Prince Jeta, and Anatta Pindika wanted to buy it. And he said that if you could cover it with gold, then I would sell the part covered in gold. And Anatta Pindika was very healthy. He was a rich man, and he especially helped widowers, single people, room and board. He was a great philanthropist. So he covered the ground with gold and gave it to the Buddha. But he did not cover the trees, so the trees were donated to Sakyamuni Buddha by Prince Jeta. So the name was Jeta's trees and Anatta Pindika's grove, and in short, Jetavana. Now you understand. One time the Buddha was staying at Anatta Pindika monastery at Prince Jeta's grove in Sravasti, or at Jetavana. Some people translated it wrong, and Jeta they translated into rootless tree. That's wrong. It's Prince Jeta's trees donated to Sakyamuni Buddha, and Anatta Pindika's grove donated to Sakyamuni Buddha. And the one who consulted the geomancy of the land was Sariputra. With an assembly of 1,250 monks. They gathered that many people. At that time, it was meal time. He donned his robe, took his alms bowl, so carried his alms bowl and entered the great city of Savatthi, asking for food. Entered Sravasti and went from door to door asking for food. After the alms round, he returned to the monastery and ate his meal. He then put away his robe and bowl, washed his feet, and prepared his seat and sat down. In Malay and Indonesia, it's called makan nasi. In Chinese, eat or have your meal. Or at noon, we would say lunchtime. At night, dinner time. In the morning, breakfast. Breakfast. So, even in eating, there is it's knowledge. So for alms begging, Sakyamuni Buddha asked Mahakasyapa, who especially begged from the poor. So he said because he wanted to wish the poor to become rich in their future lives. So therefore Mahakasyapa became like Lian Xu. And Ananda especially begged went for alms begging from the rich people. And Sakyamuni Buddha asked him, why do you beg from the rich people? And Ananda replied, because I want to lessen the burden of the poor. And if the poor people offers to him and they're already so poor and they still have to give to me, so he couldn't bear that, so he especially asked from the rich people. So that's why Ananda is like reference Shenren. So it's big difference between the two of them. One is Shenren, one is Lian Xu. Mahakasyapa is very thin and skinny, and Anand is fat and round. They all make sense, but they also not make sense. Nonsensical. You don't have the mind of equality. When you go for the alms round or alms begging, then you eat whatever given to you. You don't choose. If you choose, then you're slanted. Then you've gone off. So that's how Sakyamuni Buddha was. You cannot have any discrimination, have to be equal. You eat whatever given to you. That's how the Sangha member should be. So if you encounter a poor person, then you eat the food of a poor person. If you eat a rich man tomorrow, then you eat the food of the rich person. So there's a meaning in this eating. The Buddha said, one especially beg from the poor people, the other one get the alms from the poor, one from the rich. They are both wrong because they have gone off. So you eat whatever you have. That's how a practitioner should be. You should not be selective. You have to pay attention. If you're selective, that's wrong. Let me tell you that Mahakasyapa was incredible. Let me tell you. His death was not. So why did he leave Sakyamuni Buddha's Sangha? Because Sakyamuni Buddha lived at the Vasuvana Vihara. So even the living is also important, also meaningful. So in how he eats, how he wears, how he lives, and how he transports are different than other people. So how he eats, when food was offered, he would first visualize. He visualized before he ate. The same with us. We make offering to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and offered to the sentient beings. And then you visualize the food to become poo. Become poo, and the soup becomes pee. So drink the pee and eat the poo. So that's what you should do at first. A practitioner should remember, not only have the mind of equality, you have to visualize the food and drink to become the most inedible stuff. So you drink the pee, not drink the wine. You eat poo. So that's the first kind of eating. Why did Mahakashyapa leave the Sangha? Because Sakyamuni Buddha went to live in the Jetavana Grove. That was a luxurious mansion. Of course, Mahakashyapa did not want to live there. Instead, he lived at the cemetery in between the tombs. He lived in the caves, he lived under the trees. That's how Mahakashyapa was. That's why he was one of the great disciple. He did not live in the mansion, in the vihara. He did not sleep on the bed. He lived in the caves, under the trees, and he did not even lie down when he slept. He would sit sleeping. That was Mahakashyapa. So he's first and foremost in abiding by the precepts, not like Ananda, who slept like a pig. So Ananda and Mahakashyapa did not get along with each other. One is like Dian Xu, and one is like Xianren. The body, the figures are different. One is so fat and one is like this, Mahakashyapa. And his fingers were like chicken feet. And then now we're talking about wearing. So how did Sakyamuni Buddha wear his clothes? It's just with a piece of cloth. So what is the the first kind of wearing. So in the cemetery, there were many cloths that was used to wrap the corpses. And they took that and they wrap it around their own body. That's how they wear. That's the way Mahakashyapa wore his clothes. And the way they wore that was a little bit like the way the Thai monks are wearing their robe nowadays. They still maintain it a little bit. Not like us wearing the skirt and the shirt, and that would be the Lama outfit. And then you also wear a robe, I mean like a big scarf, which is called the samadhi cloth. That's already changed, but the true one is that just a piece of cloth and wrap around the body, and it's not a good piece of cloth either. So it's like cloth that was used to wrap corpses in India when people died. So there's also meaning in wearing. Do you know how to wear it? If I take a piece of cloth, like the one worn by Theravada or Hinayana monk, so donned his Sangati robe, took up his armbolts and entered the great city of Sarvasti. So they walk bare feet then. Nowadays, monks wear slippers, or they even wear leather shoes, but they worn straw sandals, and because in India it rained a lot during the summer monsoon season. Because of the rain, many insects would come out, and then if you go around for alms round, then you would step on the insects, so they didn't want to kill, so they had to retreat for 3 months during the summer's rainy season. So after the alms round, he returned to his place, which is the Jetavana Vihara, and everyone ate their meals and put away the robe and bowl, the alms bowl, wash the feet, because they went bare feet. The feet would be dirty, so you have to wash the feet. And the seat, they call it like and they prepare, they maybe place some mats on the seat and sit down accordingly. So, we talk about the clothings, which is the cloth of a corpse wrapped around the body, and the abode. So, if they're an ascetic, they would live in caves or under the trees. And for transport, it's bare feet. That's in Taiwanese. Walk or travel bare feet. So, any opinion on this piece? And then later, Mahakashyapa left the Sangha. Why? Left the monastic group. Because the group has changed. Toward the end, Sakyamuni Buddha also accepted offerings from donators, benefactors. They wanted to offer to the Sangha, and so they all went. So at the end, the Buddha also accepted offerings of meals. And the outfit, the clothing is also different. From the corpse cloth became a kind of cloth that's like quilt. So pieces of cloth, of discarded cloth, pieced together and then made into clothings. That's called Bainai. So, quilt of unwanted cloth thrown away by people. So now you understand about what I just explained. The Buddha, at his earliest time, lived in the cave. And then someone made an offering of the Venavana Vihara. And then later on, there was another donator who donated a beautiful, luxurious house, which is Jetavana Vihara. And that was a beautiful place where Sariputra checked the geomancy. So now I finish this chapter. So our spiritual cultivation nowadays, really, it's too easy and too nice for all of you. Lian Xi is not that he is restraining himself, but because he had bad digestive system. He's not like Mahakashyapa. Mahakashyapa had to visualize. Even when he got tasty food, he had to visualize it to become poo and to become pea. So you have to visualize like that even when eating. And for us tantric practitioners, it's more different. We have to visualize each of the food we eat. You're so fortunate. And they make lama outfit with shapes. Oh. The teacher asked Xiaoming, "Do you know how to swim?" And Xiaoming said no. And the teacher asked, "Even the dog can swim. You're worse than a dog." And Xiaoming said, "How about you? Do you know how to swim?" And the teacher said, "Yes." "Then aren't you the same as a dog?" It's funny. That's a mentally ill patient that saved someone's drowning, and then the psychiatrist praised him. So you save a drowning person, so that's a great performance. But then he also killed himself by hanging himself. And then the mentally ill patient said, "Oh, I was trying to dry him out, hang him." And Amitabha. Om Mani Padme Hum.